Hello. I am a little bit late. Was in the other room. This is March 31st, 2023, and today I'm just going to pick up where I left off last time with the In Browser Database. So I wasn't able to really figure out what to do in regards to mutating the other objects while they're in the other store. I did expand PouchDB just to play around with it, so let's try that out real quick. So let's start up an HTTP server, port 8000. And this is the one that we looked at before. But what I want to do is go in the other console, just play around with it. Oops, I don't know, I typed in ls. Where db equals new PouchDB. So there's our database. Person equals Justin. Right, so then db.post, I think it was post, person, then result, anything. There we go. So we have one document. And if we were to docs that, there we go. So there's our documents, our rows. Here's the first one. And of course, this doesn't have the data in it. So what I want to do is pass in include docs true. I think that's it. You can probably hear my cat. Oh, there it is. There's the doc. It wasn't in there before, was it? No. So it does have the doc in here, but if I were to do person name equals Bob here, if I grab the data again, you're going to see that it didn't change the underlying data. But that is a concern that we have with the Java or the GWT side. Unless we were to serialize the data, clone the data somehow, we might have issues with that. But that's been the issues with some of the other data stores. Even with Cincha GXT, I believe that if you were to change the beans, the values, it would actually modify it in the other store, but that's going to cause us problems. Because if you think about it, if we are intending for this to all be indexed, which is the reason why I'm doing this project, is to be able to support some sort of indexing mechanism so that we can search through data a little bit faster. And obviously we would want the pagination and all of that other stuff. I don't think having history of changes is that important, and I honestly don't think that I'm going to be able to do that because of the fact that these aren't normal JSON data structures. Here we can see that the document, the age and name are actually spelled out in the object, but in GWT they're most likely going to be obfuscated property names. So let me remember where I left off on this. So let me go ahead and start the other server. Even a little bit. You can't see it because of my face. There we go. And start up this. Let's do that thing again. Let's close those out. We'll try to run it again. It only happens the once though, so it's not too bad. There we go. No, that is not going to the right browser. Open Chrome. There we go. All right, so there we go. If I were to take a look at the console, this is basically where we left off. So if I take a look at this, we're creating our database. We create a new person, actually Justin, give it some data, print it out. And I was looking at being able to clone, which that didn't turn out very well, because the clone that's provided by JavaScript. So if I take a look at MDN structured clone, I was looking at this as some potential mechanism for deep cloning data structures. It didn't work out too well, because if I take a look at the data that's cloned, let's see. So the before, where I'm just doing a console log of Justin itself, you can see that it's actually named as the type. And the prototype, we can see that it has all of the functions in there for get first name, get last name. Obviously, these are going to be obfuscated. So during the GWT compile, you're going to lose that kind of information. But then, if I were to collapse that and say during, which means that it's during the other cloning, or after it's cloned, because I was intending for whenever I push data into the data store, that it would actually clone it, just so that I would have the right, because it's not cloning the prototype portion. It's basically just disconnecting and grabbing all of the direct properties and ignoring any kind of attachments that it has for the GWT side. So what I was going to do, I was going to try one more thing. I was playing around with Chat GPT, asking it questions about some of this stuff, and I'm kind of curious if some of it would actually work. So if I create a new package here, call it util. I'm going to create a clone util. I don't think this will work, but I'm kind of curious what code ChatGPT gave me. So let's, in here, public static type T, it's going to return T. It's going to clone whatever object. I didn't it gave me GWT code, which was kind of interesting. Well, you'll see. It's probably really dirty, but it's only like 5 lines long. So basically, they created a JS array. They used the core GWT one, so I'm going to do that first, and then I'll look at doing this in is that working? In Elemental. Is that working? See, it's already failed. Yeah, I have captions on. I'm logged in as Vertispan. I'm not sure what that would be. So you're saying that T has to be, so that's probably the other problem. Let me just glance at the description that ChatGPT gave me. It didn't mention that it had to be a JSO. Well, and that defeats the purpose of what I want to do. Well, let me just type it out and see if I can get this to work. See, it's already failing because these methods don't even exist. Did it just make up stuff? I need to look at the import com Google GWT core client JS array. Yeah, this is the same one. So I think it's just making up methods, or maybe it was a maybe it was a very old version of it or something. I don't know. Because these methods don't actually exist, and the intent was to return result get 0. I mean, it kind of makes sense-ish, but yeah, that's not gonna work. Does the other JS array work? Yeah. I kind of assume that, looking more into it, that it's not actually going to work. I really don't understand that. Yeah, I don't have that. The problem is that you just cut off any cycles or methods. Yeah. Right. Well, that stinks. So I don't think cloning is going to be a thing that we can do easily. Especially creating a. All right, let me try that. Especially creating a generic library for persisting and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't really understand the point of that. Let me just see what this object looks like first. Alright, so let's clone util, clone adjustment. Oops, that's my project. Yeah, for the most part, it lost all of my the information of the other class, the Java class. Right. Well, I mean, this was intended for in-browser stuff, because I even played around with the in-browser stuff with PouchDB, and it's actually making clones of everything. So if I take a look at plugins, where did I see that at? Adapters. I think it was an adapter. Yeah. There was like the in-memory one. So here's the other memory. I think I may have added this. Yeah. So here's the in-memory plugin. So adapter memory. So if I come over here, let me refresh this. Oh, I need to restart that server. So HTTP server, refresh this. So now if I did, I might have it in here already. Yeah, so adapter memory. So then let me create that person object again. And let me post it. Let's all docs it. Then whenever we list it out, we can see that it's actually in here. But if we take a look at under application, well, this is a bad example. So let me delete foo. If I remember right, it's db.destroy. And if I go over here, oops, I need to resolve the promise. Oops. Oh, it's already been destroyed. Okay. That's weird. Well, let me just delete that database. And let's come back over here. Let's create that database again. Foo. And it's not going to create the index DB. If I were to do this again without that and call it foo index DB, come over here, we can see that it actually created the database. So that means that whenever I do the in memory, it's actually an in memory and doesn't actually persist it to the browser database. So whenever I post this, grab the all docs. It's got one record. There it is. And if I were to do person.name equals Bob, print it again, so it's not holding it by reference. It is actually making a copy in memory of that data. That way, whenever you actually do make changes, so if I were to do a put later with some changes, giving it the revision number, this revision number, make change to the name, it'll be able to do it. So if I do person, so if I were to, I'm not sure how to do this, so if I do a put Bob, age 20, then Brett. I think this is how you do it. Oh, that's weird. Missing ID now. So I do need the ID. Underscore ID. There we go. This is a long way around this. But it's kind of fun to see how this works. So you do see that it did update Bob that time, and it does have the revision has been updated. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, no, it's not. I thought it was something a little bit different. But it does look like it's using an auto increment, possibly an auto increment in front of the revision number with some random number after it. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, history. I'm not sure how to look at the history, but these are all in memory, because if I come back over to the application tab under IndexedDB, doesn't have it. Nothing under there, nothing under there. No WebEx SQL. Doesn't look like there's any kind of local storage used. Oh, there's a local storage right there. Just holding the letter B, I guess. Those are just keys. Not sure what it's doing there. So, yeah, back to the GWT side. I honestly don't know how to do this in a generic way. So right now it's just like we have the risk of somebody mutating the original data type. I mean, I even thought about using RPC for this sort of thing, but kind of need to know the data types in order to do the serialization, especially in any kind of complex ones. We can hope for the best with the bean level of serialization. Anything more complicated obviously won't work. But I don't think you can do that with like a generic service. It's designed to let you use serialization directly, no actual RPC on it. You'd have to have a store based on type though. Right, and that's going to be a problem. I wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, even if I did this on a like a web worker, I have no idea. So I might be ending this little project. Because I think it's overkill for being able to index data and stuff like that. I mean, if you can't use the features, we can easily create a mechanism in a data store, or I know that in GXT it was a list store, in Domino it's a data source, I think. But I don't know how to do it otherwise. I mean, you'd have to write it basically as a blob. You would have, because like what I was doing before, I had a GWT node, which basically just held the document in there. So this was like the outermost object that is stored in the other store. But underneath that, I wouldn't know what's in it, because obviously this is writing it as a reusable library for any application. So I'm not sure what to do with that. I mean, is there a way to use the GWT serialization in a generic way? Because I know that at least with RPC, at least the old RPC, you had to have your data types in the serialization policy. Right. I mean, that's what this was. This GWT node. It was my way of holding on to the ID revision and the document. I mean, even with like lists and stuff, you always run a risk of a class cast exception if you were trying to, because you can always use the raw type and put any object in that collection, and whenever you're trying to pull it out in a generic list, you'll get that class cast exception. So it's like, developer beware, like whatever data that you put in, you need to know what it is whenever it comes back out. So what would you need to do instance of for? I'm not planning on storing this outside of, like right now, my my initial plan would be to have this as a in-memory store. Could have a backed by an RPC service if somebody were to want to write that. Right. So given a GWT node, what's in it? I mean, it's just a doc. It's going to return some object. I mean, I can always make this extend serializable so that it's at least serializable. Because my concern, let me just get rid of these clones. Is right here. of some of this. I create the Justin object. I do a toString on it, basically. And then I post it to the database. I display all of those types. And then if I were to modify the first name, it will change the one that's displayed here. Just write some garbage Java that would represent how you would person of the DB. Well, right, and that's kind of what I have here, where this result is an all docs result. Oops. Response. And this has the offset, total rows, and a list of the rows as GWT nodes. And because I'm including the docs, it's returning something that actually has the document in it instead of an empty shell. Yeah, they're all the same type. So if you take a look at the PouchDB, and it's all holding the same document type, right? I mean, I guess technically you wouldn't be held to that. So why would you want to hold just a collection of arbitrary data inside of it? I don't need to know what's inside of it. The only thing that I want is so that whenever... Here, let me refresh this and we can see it. So before, we have this guy. And notice that even though in the other toString it was Justin, but because I changed it, it ended up being Bob. But then, here we go. It's Bob in the database, even though I posted it as Justin. I just don't want the underlying store to be mutated by passing it the reference, right? I mean, obviously we won't really know how to do any kind of comparisons. So if you wanted to do a compare changes, yeah, you would. That's not it. I'm not seeing it in here. But there is some way to be able to check the differences. Revision diff, here we go. So rev diff. So if you take a look at this ID and these two revisions of that document, it'll actually show the differences. But I don't think I want to do that because obviously that's not going to be helpful in this particular case with the obfuscated fields. Serializer, and see, I don't even think that I have that project in here. I don't have the RPC stuff that was in my other project. real quick. Close out some of my other terminals that I can switch back. There we go. It's a big terminal. Web worker. There we go. Yeah, and I don't have the latest snapshot. I should probably pull and rebuild that. Is it GWT RPC? Remote host has changed. Didn't I just check this out recently? Yeah, March 20th. Did the thing? That's weird. Host key for GitHub has changed. Ooh, when did that happen? Is that a thing that just happened recently? Find another. Did you? Oh, okay. Well, shoot. I am going to switch over to GitHub. Create a new key. Must have missed that. I remember where this is. It's under SSH and GPG keys. Oh, that was stupid. Ugh, I don't want to have to regenerate SSH keys. I added this one on May 2017. Not regenerate? Oh, I just have to... what? Yeah, I need to just go over to Slack real quick. Okay. But it is safe. Project in my end. So. All right, let me take care of this. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Just had to go into my known hosts. Make sure that I did that off screen since it has all my hosts in there. I guess I need to. I'm assuming this is this the location of all of your recent changes? Or should I be pulling out a different branch? I think you may have. I don't think this merge request has been merged yet. I haven't looked at it. Don't worry about the recent stuff. Okay. All right, let me just remember what I need to pull in then. Web workers. I hate that I go back and forth between Mac and Windows because I keep wanting to hit Control C to copy instead of Command C. That it? Wait, I don't need the worker stuff, right? I was just thinking workers. What's the rest of it? Correct. I don't know if that's correct for it. I need to do this one off screen as well. There we go. Which module do I need? Serialization samples. That's the yeah, that's fine. Add those two, I guess. Are these all the same version? Yeah, those snapshot. Yeah, I need to change the group ID too. Oh, my face is in the way. maybe this will work. All right, and then showing the arrow. It doesn't matter that I have sources on both of these. They've been shared. So anybody that wants to use this would have to pull in like the serialization processor, right? I mean, I guess I could always not have it as provided on mine, right? And they can just get it through transitive dependency, and they would just use my library as provided. I don't know if I need a processor. So I guess I don't need these. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Guess all of this has kind of gone off the rails. Guess I built this before. Maybe because it's a snapshot, you have to build it anyways. Let me just go ahead and build it. Wrong group ID. It's org GWT projects, right? Oh, in this branch, that's right. What is it in this branch? Convert a span. Well, that didn't work. Well, I got the group ID correct now. It's because I'm not doing sources over here. That's it. Is a version unknown. 1.0 snapshot. I think it's because I had a classifier in the dependency management, yeah, but not in the not seeing that unless it's already been cleared up. All right, order serializer. That's not there. I'm looking in the samples. Oh, you're saying it that class is in the samples. I thought it was a library from. So serialization wiring. So what's this? Okay. And just with some sort of data type. Just for lack of place to put this, because I don't know. GWT DB node serializer. I don't know. RPC call might send a type that it can never receive. I don't know. I'm outside of my depth of knowledge here. Of course, once I push this out to YouTube, everybody's going to lose context of what I'm talking about because they're only going to see one-sided conversation. Probably need the chat in the video too. I don't know where I put it though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to experiment with this offline because I don't know anything about it. Otherwise, you're just gonna watch me flounder for a while. Yeah, let me just come back to that at a different time. I guess for the first part, we can just assume that it's going to get serialized somehow so that the instances will be different. I mean, it would be nice. I just don't know how to do that off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, that could entail creating a annotation processor. Um, so then you have to basically declare your own GWT database and basically parameterize that with the data type that you're going to serialize, and it does all of the necessary stuff with the GWT serializer for that type and everything that it links to down the object graph. I mean, that's not too bad of an issue. So if I had like public interface, my GWT DB of type person, I don't even need to do that, extends GWT DB of person. Oh, right, I know. I know that the serialization will go down its own object graph for that. So if I were to do something like this, it would look, even if I had another type in here, which I don't understand. I still have this as a type here. Public static class address. And then and then the person has an address in here now. It would be able to go across all of those types, just with like RPC does. You don't have to list them out yourself. It does all of the traversing. But if I do something like this, it would generate the implementation that would do the GWT serializer generation stuff for this, right? It could create its own serializer. Basically, the serialization wiring, right? Might work, but I don't want to do that on screen, on camera right now, because I don't know enough about it. But that could work. It's just an extra layer of stuff. I'm doing this all in the entry point of my head. Let me just extract these out. Probably just move the both. Can't do that. Refactor. Move inner class. Upper level. Yeah, it's not gonna let me do both at the same time. Still think this sounds like Legend of Zelda, whenever you go into a fairy cave or something like that. This song is called Cole's Town. Stream Beats. Royalty-free music. Alright, where'd my browser go? Let me refresh this. Alright, so we have person. Oh, that's good that it's now that it's a top level type, it'll actually have the name of that type instead of main entry point, whatever. Yeah, we don't care about revision. Not until we can actually serialize this. So let's just ignore revision for now. Alright, so do we have fetch doc? I think I did all of the CRUD methods the last time we were playing around with this. So create the new database, create the object that you're wanting to store in it. I'm posting it, and post, if we remember from Tuesday, whenever I streamed last, posting will basically take that object and assume that it's a brand new object in the data store. It'll create its own ID. So even if it has an ID, I think it'll overwrite it, and it'll set its own revision. But if you wanted to update an object, I mean, technically you're supposed to, and I don't think I have an update in here because it was a put. No, there is a put. So in this particular case, I was setting the ID, and whenever you want to use a brand new object, so even if it's not in the data store, if you were to set an ID on it and put it in there, it'll use your ID that you already gave it. And I don't think Colin was here on Tuesday. I did some really dirty stuff. Oops. To move this to this desktop because I keep wanting to switch over to it. I basically slapped on ID and revision as... Was it Wednesday? Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, that's right. I just slapped on a property as a JS property map. So I threw on to the existing bean the ID and the revision, so that whenever it stores it, it'll have it in there. So you can see it right there. So it has the ID and the revision. And this one has the ID of Alex only because we set the ID. If we weren't setting the ID, I think this one will actually cause an error. Yep. Probably need something a little bit more nice than that. But I did reject it because the that object doesn't exist. So if you try to put and the ID doesn't exist, it'll fail. Otherwise, you have to post to make sure that it gets in there. And this one's going to fail because we're not going to... the very next line we're querying for the Alex. But since we didn't set the ID, it's in there as a different ID, which is... it's Bob. I guess I didn't print it out. That's fine. And then we did remove, but it doesn't look like the get. Other things did I need? I guess that's about it. I would like to possibly look at indexes. Indexes will be interesting. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work, but it's a little interesting feat here. So in PouchDB, okay, enjoy your lunch. I might actually go for a lunch too. It's 1:30 right now. Yeah, let me take a 10-minute break. Let me grab some lunch, feed my cats. I will be right back. Alright, I am back. Hopefully it wasn't too much after the timer went out. I had a timer on my stopwatch. It's really difficult to eat lunch in 10 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to probably finish eating a little bit, but I'm going to continue developing. So I'm trying to figure out, like, whenever you create an index, so it has an object that has index colon and the particular index of fields, but it also looks like you can specify multiple fields. This one allows you for deep fields, which I would have to use like AutoBean or something to support something like that. And I was thinking that maybe instead of using strings, because obviously we won't have access to the beans that way, we would probably want to use like lambdas. All right, so this one, this one actually has a field. I don't know what DDoc is. Type JSON. Design document name. Well, that's not going to be relevant for this work. And type, that one's not going to be relevant either. Only supports JSON. So I don't know why it's even there. I guess for future stuff, if they wanted to have a like an XML type or something like that. You entirely sure what this is. This is like listening to the index. I don't see anything else. So it kind of looks like, is this like the only field that object has? If that's the case, I can easily just pop that up to being like let's see. Yeah, I really need to fix some directory structures here, or package structures. I'm just going to call it an index. So the index is going to contain a collection of fields. And it has to be an ordered list, because if you want to query, you have to make sure that you query in the same order. So if I do query here, we can see that selector, I guess that's the, this is probably the semaphore. And this is the field that it's looking at. So I guess that determines which index. We might have to do it based upon named indexes. I don't think we can do that otherwise. The selectors are going to be weird. Yeah, see here, I don't know what series is. Yeah, I'm going to have to play around with that so I better understand how this works. Query an index and return the list of documents that match the request. So here's the example usage. Oh, I have to look at the Mango query. That's right. This is where the documentation on here is kind of spread out. So you create an index, give it the fields, and then whenever you do the selector, basically this is going to match the first field. Then you can also put different operands in here. So here's indexing on more than one field, name and age. Here you can see the selector is doing the name and the age, which the selector in our case could probably be a collection of semaphores, one for each field in the index. And it even says that the order of the fields matter when creating your index. For instance, the following would not work. So they index the fields by age and then name. See, I don't think that's going to say that it doesn't work. I think it's more of a matter of it's just not going to be able to utilize the index that way. Okay. Well, let's just take a look at this. So if I wanted to create index from this is to create, because we might want a name in there, but we also want like person dot name, get first name, person age. It's probably because I have a typo in there. Oh, it's because this method doesn't exist. So let's go ahead and create that method in the GWT DB. Public promise. I'm just going to do a void for now. Create index. Wait a second. This is the wrong place. I needed that in the strategy. And this was a delegation. Okay. The other implementation is going to be in usage. I need implementation in the in-memory. All right. So that creates an let's see that. I can't move my head either. There we go. All right. Why can't I import that? There we go. I used the JavaScript one. Alright, so this is basically just going to take that is not what I wanted. plan. Is that right? I cannot recall. Oh no, it's not a supplier. I need a function. And this has to be of type T of the document. So a function. I'm going to take 2 arguments. The document and the return value is going to be like that. And be that. There we go. That worked, right? Yeah, that fixed it. Yeah, I forgot that it has to take in the object first. It's a pre-index. I guess this needs to be changed to index of that document. There we go. Now what? Uncheck call. I don't care about the void return type. Oh, just because of this. No? I don't know. Let's just figure this one out. All right, so here, do that. Oh. Obviously, you don't want to create an empty index, so let's just get rid of that one. So we probably also want a named index. I don't know what to do in regards to the name. Like, if you don't have a name, how would you reference that index? I mean, I would, I don't know. Look at the field? I don't know. Let's just see how that goes. So private final fields. This collection of function of the object. And I'll probably just do like an array of. Um, all right. So here, name and fields. Create null fields. Okay. I mean, obviously, this will have a performance impact. I'm kind of curious what the performance notes are in here. Is that going to perform well? Regardless, for instance, you may create an index with create index, but then write a find query. It doesn't actually use that index. In general, the query planner tries to find the most appropriate index, but may fall back onto in-memory querying. If you're using the ID field, then the query planner will automatically map that directly to all docs query. If you query for the field that isn't yet indexed, I'll simply use all docs to read all the documents from the database and then filter in memory. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a performance issue, especially if you're hitting a server, it's having to pull a lot of data down. I'm not entirely sure how to actually build the indexes. I know that it uses like B trees in here. Yeah, here we go. Create index is an expensive operation because it is looping through all documents in the database and building a B tree based on the name value. I mean, what if your indexes are created before every time that you add data to your database? It would just add it into the appropriate place in the index B tree, right? So then find it relatively cheap. Yeah, so probably means that we would probably want to create our index. Right after creating the database. Check to site. What? Oh. Yeah, that could be an issue. I don't know. Let's just go with it for now. I mean, we could always just create and then use builder methods to build the index. Because there's going to be other things that we might need, and I don't really care for positional parameters in that regard. Yeah, I might do that. So let's just create a public static d index d create return index. All right, and in here we're going to make it write only, I guess. At least from the other perspective of the developer, we make everything package private. All right, so let's change this to no longer be final. This one can stay final. And let's just get rid of these. All right. And then we can do public index d and fields. Here we can do a function fields. Place all. Now, let's just do and so clear. Sure. As long as that works. Oh wait, single. Oh, I forgot the ellipses. So whenever you call fields, then you pass in the other fields that you want. And in this particular case, I need to specify the index is of type person first. Still don't know what the issue is here. Check generics for array creation. I don't know. Can I just change that to object? Check generics array creation for bear arg. I don't know what that means. Obviously, we'll want to force at least a single one. Does that throw an exception if that list is null? Doesn't look like it. Nope, it needs to be non-null. Good to know. It's probably a weird way of doing this. Let's just come over here and refresh so that we can recompile and make sure that everything's still working. And have a get doc issue down here. Why? me an issue now. Wonder if it's because of the bonuses here. Wonder if I should be nesting these. So then we post it, then we call get on that same object. Does that fix it? Nope. It's in there. Alex. Oh, the ID is not correct. Oh, did we change that to post instead of put? And that's problematic. That's why it wasn't working. Not because of all of this other crap. Should be able to do this now. That should still work. I forgot that I changed that earlier whenever I was experimenting. All right. So today, basically just going to identify what the API could look like. Put public index name, string name, stuff name is name, return this. So then if I have a named index, I'll be able to do that. Otherwise, it just takes a collection of functions here. All right, so now we just have to figure out what are we going to do with the indexes. So we're gonna have to figure out how to create a binary tree of this. This is gonna go back to some of the old college days. I need to remember how to do that. I mean, I could always just ignore it for now. And so we have all of the documents in here. Let's go ahead and log index queries. Let's just take a look at what those look like. See, this is using... No, that is not. How is it able to do this? The name is the field. I can make it really ugly. I don't want to do that. Let's swear there was a named index. Oh, is that what design doc is? When creating a query by setting the use index field, it is possible to tell PouchDB find which index to use. Otherwise, it would have to figure out what you wanted to use based upon your selector. And let's figure out what the selector is going to look like. Let's put that after. Go on. All right, so then db find. Is that right? And you pass it a I'm going to create two objects, two classes. I'm just going to call it search for now. Because one of them looks like you can specify the selector. And this has to be ordered. And then the search can also say use index, and it gives a named index. I don't know. I'll rename these later. So then find, search, create, selector, create. This is where we can specify the other name. I didn't name this there, but let's go ahead and name it. For lack of better names. First, then age. Okay. So then in the strategy here, I'm going to return a promise of, I think it's basically the same result as the DB response, right? Doesn't really say. I mean, this is the data that you're getting, but that's not showing me the example result. I'm assuming it's going to return the same thing. With DB response, if you remember, it doesn't have anything. Probably need to do this one. I'll have to rename that one later, obviously, because it's no longer all docs. Okay. And this one is going to delegate to the strategy, and in memory one, like that. There we go. Return new promise. I thought I did that last time I streamed too. Promise. Oh, I swear I put new. All right. And this is going to require a selector. Yep, no, wrong class. Okay, search selector. And let's bind that one to a field. And it can only have one. Public static selector create. New selector. Private selector. Should do the same thing here. Private search. Just to avoid external instantiations. There we go. And the search can also search, use index, string index name, return this, bind that to a field. Okay. And the other result, get rows, stuff like that. Just for some code reuse. Console find by index. Obviously, this isn't going to work yet because we also need to. I mean, right now we're doing it on this. So a selector. See, it looks like it's going to be the field name or field reference to something. It's either going to be a string or it's going to be another object that has basically a dictionary, a map with the operands. Where are those operators? So in the main reference? Yeah, there they are. Which fields this and this one? I mean, this is just for the find. I could always just do like a semaphore, right? And then I can just eliminate the need of this. I can create some utilities that would be able to assist it, but I don't want to do any kind of data type conversions. So if I did This first page. This will be kind of interesting. Just looking at Slack. What? Did I miss something? Oh, is that the closed captioning? Colin just pasted some text to me, and I have no idea what it's from. I think it might be closed captioning. So it must have had something weird. I'm not really reading it at the same time. That would be very difficult. Person.getAge. Okay. Let's see if that can work. So public selector, and this is our return selector. I think this has to be, might have to be generic, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be. So here, search would have to be of that document type, right? And the selector, let's also put the document type in there. Oh, yeah, I was setting back a little bit, so it's very possible that it was kind of curious what the context was for that closed captioning. Probably need to get a desk, put this on the desk instead, so that it'll pick me up a little bit better. Just need to not pop the P's. Yeah, I'm just gonna have it in my face. Oh, that doesn't look very good. Shouldn't have messed with my mic. All right. Keyboard for some reason is not balanced. So it keeps bubbling every time touch something. All right, so with the add, this is just going to be a function of D and anything. This is going to be the field. Is that a semaphore? Right? I keep saying semaphore. It's not a semaphore that I need. It's a, I don't know why that was stuck in my brain. What is the word? Predicate. I'm saying semaphore. Nobody said anything. That's fine. Predicate. No, that's not right. It's going to be of type T. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, that's not going to work at all. So, now it works. Yep, that's a string. Maybe it could be replaced with a lambda reference. Oh, well, that looks interesting. I didn't like that before. That's thanks, IntelliJ. That's kind of interesting. I mean, does this make sense? Do a DB find. I'm creating a search, giving it a selector. And then I'm adding the fields and the predicates for each one of those fields, and that's basically what this Mango query is doing. Because let's go to one that has multiple fields in here. So it's basically the field, and this one's an equals. I'm assuming that's an equals. But otherwise, you're passing it some sort of predicate. Because it has to execute this on every single one that it comes across. I mean, is that ugly? Because even without the index, let's say that you don't have an index for this, this should still work. Well, right, I know. I know. Because if this were, like an RPC search, obviously the data is on the server. That one's not going to work. And yes, you would have to pass essentially what Mango queries have, where it's just an object that contains so I guess in that particular case, see, I'm kind of curious. The equals, why does this exist if the default is equals, right? I mean, can you have multiples in here? Like name and then GT this, comma, LT something else. I'm curious if that works. Right. But in that case, yeah. I guess this goes back into the GXT days where we had the property providers. I think that's what it was. If there is any kinds of an index setup, it'd be faster to give it ranges than predicates. Right. Okay, so in that particular case, I would just need to come up with whatever these are, operands. Yeah. So if I had that, I would have like, yeah, that's a package. Query. And I don't have really long names. Hmm. I mean, I could have like public equals EQ on and then you can do static imports of all of the operators. Of course, I just want to have like a static. I guess they're all going to have some sort of value, right? Less than, greater than, less than, equal, greater than, equal, not equal, exists. That one, I guess that one doesn't have a value. How does that work? Yeah, there's no examples of exists in here. What were some of the other ones? There's type. That one's a value. Document must exist. So yeah, in. Oh, list provided. So that one actually has a list. Yeah, I mean, it seems kind of silly, but can probably create two collections, like a value operator. Is this something that's already done in CQ Engine? CQ Engine. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be wrapping up the stream in like 20 minutes anyway, so probably it's not a time for me to do that. Open URL. Nope, not that browser. Copy link. Nope, copy URL. There we go. Yeah. That makes sense. I like recreating the universe though. Until I understand what my goals are here, I don't want to start linking in a bunch of things that may not be what I want. You know what I'm saying? Invent the world to understand. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's say that the selector, instead of taking a predicate, it takes an operator. I mean, that's basically... I mean, except for this part, I still need to figure out how to reference the field. I could probably overload this. So, like, if you're... like, one of them takes a string... so instead of a that, it takes a string field name and the operator. So if you have like a remote store, you can do that, which is nearly identical to how this is being done. Ish. I mean, it's not bad. So then greater than 18. Oh, I did not create that one. So then static t greater than. And that's going to be here, and it's going to extend the value operator of t. Then we can import that static method. Ow. Why isn't this working anymore? Oh, so that. There we go. It's like, isn't that working? It's because it's operator now. So yeah, that ain't bad. I mean, I don't mind that. If they're named indexes, again, we can use the use index, and then it runs that search. If it's unable to find that index, it'll still be able to do the query, as long as, I mean, right now, the only way it's going to work here is by providing the same. I mean, that's kind of silly, but maybe it's a matter of configuring the database. I mean, I know that with Domino, yeah, okay, demo. Okay, I'll turn that on. In the data table, whenever you're defining your data table, you're adding each column and you're specifying like the cell renderers for each column. There's really nothing that's preventing us from creating like named columns or named properties, right? So if I did like db.named property, name, first name, and just do person dot first name, right? That would at least eliminate having to do any kind of code generation. You just have to specify everything that you're going to name. Named property, last name. And we can always do this. Once we do some annotation processor and code generation, we should be able to do this on the fly. Right, exactly. So then you would just set up, yeah, a little bit of a delay. Named property, age, person, age. The only thing that we should be able to do using this db named property address. Oh, I don't have the getter for that yet. Can I update this? Doesn't look like there's an easy way to do that. ToString generate, sure. All right, then address. I need a ToString in here. Obviously, I'll need more to this. Oops. ToString, the one with the wizard, please. There we go. I mean, this is for, you would have to set this up for in memory. If we had different adapters so that it would able to do like RPC or and RPC, it could be either hitting the server or like an in memory but on a web worker, because doing all of your index creation and stuff like that in a worker thread would probably be nice. So let's go ahead and create this. Create here. going to be full name, and then this is going to be function of type D, anything return type accessor. All right, now we need to do the whole delegate, then implement. I could probably change that to make it a builder or something like that, but that's fine. I mean, that's not too bad. And then being able to create these indexes, I should be able to also do first name, last name, or age, sorry. So overload that. I need to balance my keyboard. It's a really old Mac keyboard. All right, so ignore the rest of that for now. Because right now I'm just focusing mainly on like an interface API contract, and that's actually not that bad. I mean, like I said, whenever you're in like a Domino UI, whenever you're creating a table definition, a table config, you have to specify all of the columns, basically some sort of configuration of how you're going to get the data out of the bean. This is just getting the record from the cell, but you see what I'm saying. So in here, we're just setting up the criteria. This is how we get it. The only issue that we're probably going to have is any kind of setters. I mean, maybe we don't need to worry about setters. I really don't want to recreate the property accessors and mutators, because I was also thinking because of the fact that this Mango query also supported, and maybe it wasn't there, mutate the bean. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be mutating the bean. I think it's mainly around like a selects, because whenever you're doing a put, it would just be saving the object directly. I don't think we're going to mutate anything like that. Not query index. I want to fetch a document, but in here, I think there was something where it said that we were able to chain. Yeah, let's chain plugins. Basically being able to do a query, a selector, based upon like address.street as the field here. And then we would be able to do that, but we would also have to set up like this. But that one's going to be more difficult to do all of the chained methods like that. Definitely need to probably look into code generation, because I think that we can provide a lot of this stuff with the annotation processor. I mean, even all of the properties Yeah, that might be worthwhile for an upcoming stream. I'll have to remember how to do all of that. But this is pretty good. I like it. Um, so instead of doing those, I'm gonna start with that, which is nearly identical to I mean, as much as you can with the Mango query over here in the PouchDB. Obviously, we'll have to build out all of the other operators. I only care about a couple right now, just to concept wise. Um, I almost think that some of these should be maybe an enumeration instead. No, because then you would be able to extend this and create your own operators and then send it to the other server and know what to do with that operator, just in case there's some special operator that you want. So that's probably good to have it at least as an interface like that. Even if the all of the stuff that I implement is an enum that implements that interface, it should be fine still. All right. Well, I think I've reached the point of not knowing what else to do with us. I typed update uptime. It has been 2.5 hours, so not too bad for a stream. Um, I like it. I like it. Even though I still need to figure out some of the serialization stuff, I'm just going to do a lot of that stuff behind the scenes, off camera, and then we can circle back around and actually add it here once I figure out how all of that'll work. But I do like this interface. It's a lot better than what I was imagining. I was thinking it was going to be something rather clunky, but this seems to work. Obviously, before we even get to the annotation processor, um, we'll want to firm up what this looks like and what we're going to need, because I hate building something out for code generation and realizing, hey, my API is not going to work for me, and then I have to revamp that processor. Um, so that's the direction that I'm going to take for some of this. I do like this locator. I'll have to take a look at binary trees. So whenever we start actually creating these indexes, assuming that you create the index right off the fly, it's going to be really quick. We'll need to create some sort of data generator so that we can throw in like a couple 100,000 records into a database so that we can actually get some performance impacts from the indexes to see if it actually helped us. So with that, I am going to call it a day. This is a Friday, so I hope all of you have a great weekend, and we'll probably be back Wednesday, if not sooner, depending on what my calendar looks like, and we can start streaming again. All right, thanks. Take it easy.